Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to FALA Connect Ed Live. We want to thank you for joining us. We got a very, very good presenter and interesting topic where we can learn a lot. Next slide, please. As you know, the Florida Assisted Living is the largest association that longest established ALF association. FALA has been in existence for over 30 years, and FALA was formed by the industry professionals and represent and serve the assisted living facilities from the smallest to the largest. Next. Our staff consists of myself, Tammy Waltham, Anna Lopez, Mary Gradish, and Emily Freelander. And our numbers there, our emails are there. If you need any assistance from us, we're just a phone call, an email, or text away to provide you whatever assistance you may need. And as members, you can be involved with our local chapters to support our leadership positions and sponsorships. Opportunity all exist at the chapter level. You can also sign up for committee participation. We have several committees that, like legislative, education, etc., that you can be a part of and help support us in that way as well. And by running for a board seat, the FALA board or the foundation board. Our 2026 annual conference, we're very excited about that. It's going to begin August the 2nd through the 5th at the JW Marriott in Orlando. Our theme this year is Passport to Possibilities, Senior Living with a Purpose. There will be time to join the conference committee or education committee to help us make this one of the best annual conference that we have yet. Join us. Mark your calendars. And before I turn it over to Nick, I just wanted to let you know that there are two proposed rules waiting. That's one for the do not resuscitate sections of the adult family care home statute, a rule, which is 59A 37.004, and the do not resuscitate rule in the assisted living 59A 36.009. Those, if someone requests a hearing for those proposed rules, the adult family care home rule will be heard on April 13th. And the assisted living facility rule will be heard on April 14th. I can tell you that reading the proposed rule is really a cleanup. They're adding on the subject line at advanced directives, and they're scrapping some old language, but it shouldn't be anything that causes a negative effect for ALFs nor adult family care homes. And the other statutory law that we have is Senate Bill 1404, House Bill 1295, and it's awaiting the governor's signature, and that is the memory care services license that was passed, and it is now awaiting signature. That too should not cause any negative impact to ALFs in general. However, if you're holding yourself out or claiming that you provide care and service to Alzheimer's resident and with other dementias, then you will have to include certain things in your contract and in your advertisement and in your training. So that is it for the regulatory update. And at this time, and again, if you have any question about either the proposed rule or the update, you can always call the office and ask to speak with myself. At this time, I will present our speaker for today, Nic Kalojiannis. I'm pronouncing that all backwards and wrong. I'm just going to say Nick. And he is with the Safe and Keeping Our Kitchen Exhaust healthy and fine and clean. So, Nick, I'm turning it over to you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. First and foremost, want to thank the executive team for having me along, and then also everyone that's attending. Really appreciate it. Bear with me one second. All right. Is everyone able to see my screen okay?
Yes, we see it.
Perfect. All right. So my name is Nic Kalojiannis with Eversmith Brands. We have a number of brands, amazing brands. This one we're talking about for the kitchen safety is under our Kitchen Guard portfolio. First and foremost, Kitchen Guard was founded in 2009. Alex Moats is our Kitchen Guard of South East Florida, and an active member within your group. What we look for is partnership for excellence, a strategic proposal for safety, compliance, and asset prevention or preservation. I'm sorry. So first and foremost, as far as our topic today, better safe than sorry, keeping your kitchen exhaust system compliant. I want to make this a very open dialogue. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to put in the chat or speak up. But the main questions is why is properly cleaning your kitchen exhaust hood system imperative to fire safety, and what dangers hide behind a system not properly maintained? So, kind of a little bit of breakdown of your kitchen exhaust system within your facilities. We have the cooking line where you see from the ground level the hood and the filters through the roof, and then up to through the ductwork and up to the roof is the main ductwork where a lot of the grease and buildup gets contained if it's not cleaned properly. Then you have the roof level that has your fans that pulls the air, the heat, and the grease through the top. Um, why mechanical longevity, a proper clean system, most importantly, is fire safe, extends the life of your upblast fans by removing heavy grease loads, maintaining the correct airflow to remove fine particulate matters, preventing backdrafting, and then also protects your roof from any grease splatter or anything like that. Kind of a what we do, and a really informative part of Kitchen Guard and proper maintenance is fire safety. To the left you see the our we call our grease goblins that can build up and then cause what you see on the right, which are flash fires. Insurance claims require proof. So non-compliance can void coverages. So if your hood system is non-compliant and unfortunately if something happens, the insurance first thing they do is they start to reach out to find when was the last time it was cleaned. And at some instances, non-compliance can void coverages. So to better protect is always stay compliant. Fire safety. What is NFPA? So that's the National Fire Protection Association. So every hood clean should be done by the standards of the National Fire Protection Association Code 96. We are the industry leader to do that. Go from top to bottom, and I'll show some examples of if it is not done properly. But what are these standards? NFPA 96 is a set of codes and standards for ventilation control and fire protection of commercial cooking operations by the National Fire Protection Association. It's the standard for ventilation control and fire protection for commercial cooking operations. The standard provides broad-based preventive and operative fire safety requirements for the design, installation, operation, inspection, and maintenance of commercial cooking equipment. Inside of the NFPA codes, it encompasses a couple things that are very important. Number one is duct access and access panels. As you can see to the picture to the right, if you have a ductwork in the ceiling, this kind of shows a lot of the areas that you probably don't see. But if you pull back a ceiling tile, this is the ductwork that would go and access to the roof itself. So the NFPA requires every 12 feet of horizontal ductwork an access panel. And the reason being, for an access panel, so you can actually, when it's being cleaned properly into code, then all it is accessed and cleaned from every inch of that ductwork. If there's no access panel, then obviously there's going to be some grease buildup and then possible fire hazards. The NFPA codes speaks about rooftop grease containment, just so there isn't any damage to your roof if there's any over spillage in those instances. And also, one of the most important things, and we talk about this often, is hinge kits. So They should be installed whenever your system is first installed, but there are locations and areas that don't have the hinge kits. So you see that in the bottom right corner, the hinge kit's very important. So it actually hinges back, so there's access not only down to the ductwork itself, but also to be able to clean properly the bottom parts of the fan blades. If there isn't a hinge kit, then there's a limitation of only cleaning from the top, and it's not NFPA 96 compliant, and it allows grease buildup and then also a possible fire hazard, smoke issues, air quality. This is just another depiction of no access panels and then access panels. Non-compliant being compliant. If it's non-compliant with no access panels, again, it increased fire risk, grease runoff onto the roof. Compliant, so every time the system is cleaned, it's opened up and it's cleaned and it's safe and it's safe for cleaning all the way through your ductwork. A couple of the questions that are often is brought up for the NFPA 96 is how often should my hood be cleaned? It's a great question. So it's typically monthly systems. So if you in the kitchen you have wood, if you're using solid fuel as the base, so it's either wood, charcoal, coal, wood pellets. Within the operations, those is required to be cleaned monthly. And reason being is that solid fuel, when it burns, it actually the particles build up more in your ductwork and then your fan system. So that is required to be done monthly. Typically, with every flat top, regular deep fryers, ovens and such, those types of equipment is on a quarterly basis. So the majority of all systems on a quarterly basis. Again, 24-hour cooking, charboiling, wok cooking. Semi-annually, it's a very low to moderate cooking operations. We see those often in um, education, schools, churches, and sometimes annually as far as because there's just not a lot of volume. And why is proper kitchen exhaust hood cleaning important? Number one is fire safe compliance, insurance compliance, and preventative maintenance extends the longevity of your equipment and accountability. All right. So I want to get a little bit interactive here. I don't want to just keep rambling on. Let's ask this. Where do the majority of all kitchen fires start? Anyone's guess?
It start in the ceiling.
Yes, actually, yes,
That's
it
my
does.
guess.
That's a great guess. It does. Majority of them they do start in the actual hood system itself, but usually it's contained and it starts in the ceiling itself. That is correct. So great guess. Appreciate it. So some fun facts. Restaurants serving burgers may produce up to 50 to 80 pounds of airborne grease, vapors, aerosols per month, which is why when you go into some locations, if you're just going to dining, if it's a heavy burger cooking establishment, you'll smell that as soon as you walk in. Obviously, it smells great, but it's not the safest if there is a lot of fumes. The vapors can ignite as low as 450 degrees Fahrenheit and as little as a single spark. 90% of restaurant fires start in the kitchen, and of those, 60% involve the cooking equipment, which includes the grills and the actual hoods itself. Some of the effects of a fire: one fire, permanent closure. According to FEMA, 50% never reopen. And what we do is, and what's very important is grease is not one size fits all. So it's very important if you once you get your system inspected, that is inspected from top to bottom, and you get your report to make sure it's done right. And a little bragging about Kitchen Guard. We're honored to protect the White House, the United States of America. All right. So this is what kind of give you an idea what it looks like from floor level. So it can be very deceiving. So you can't be fooled with a nice clean shine from the floor level. And reason being, some of we call them chucks with a truck. So basically, a person with a pressure washer, very understaffed, not going by NFPA 96 code, they'll make it look really shiny and perfect from the floor level. So it looks good from what you see, and if it's an open concept or just for your employees. But what's actually behind and what you can see is the dangers behind the filter. So once you pull the filters back, you can see on your left is an example of when there's no hinge kit on the roof fan, and they just shoot the chemicals from top down through the ductwork, and it actually starts breaking down the grease, but then it actually turns into a thicker and then sometimes in a liquid form grease with chemicals. And then to your right is a buildup that's above the filters that you can't see. So if it's not done properly, these are the effects that could happen, and if it's not maintained regularly. Here's some also pictures. Once you pull those shiny filters back, to your left is the start of the ductwork going up to the roof. You can see the excessive buildup. The picture in the middle is on the roof where it's dripping grease all over the roof itself and the equipment on the roof. To the right, we'll talk a lot about this a little bit more, is effects of poor cleaning. You'll start seeing grease splatter to your HVAC systems. Again, some other quality service inspections. The HVAC systems, typically they're very close to the fans on the roof, so they usually get the negative effects of an improper cleaning. We have some other pictures as well, more buildup. And picture to your left is an access panel that was there, but it wasn't accessed. So that happens from time to time where there are access panels that are there properly, but the company that's doing it is not accessing them properly and cleaning them properly. And I'll show you a little video to the right. That's going up through the ductwork as well, so a more excessive buildup. So you can see that it doesn't take much for your system to get built up with grease, ash, depending on what the kitchen is cooking, but to make it very dangerous for not only fire safety but also air quality, and some more side effects of improper cleaning, roof damage. And here's the video to the right where the system wasn't cleaned properly and the grease is actually churning within the system itself, which is a very bad situation. All right, so we'll kind of get interactive again. So where does the smoke and grease go if your hood system is not cleaned or working properly? Where do you think the smoke goes?
It goes back in the building, back inside the building.
Perfect. Absolutely right. So that's when you see when they're cooking and really busy in the kitchen itself, you start seeing the smoke and the grease just billowing out of the actual system itself. That means the fan's not either working properly or the ductwork is not cleaned properly. And it's not going to allow proper ventilation. So how does that affect it? How does that affect your indoor air quality? How your kitchen exhaust system plays that big part. So by cleaning your and not only being compliant with NFPA 96 and fire safety, but it can actually improve your air quality is in all your commercial spaces and locations. So another question to you all is when was the last time you looked up to the air vents or your AC returns near your hoods? So this is what the side effects of a system that's not working properly. We can see where the smoke is and grease is billowing out on the outside, then it starts affecting the HVAC systems. And we all know how costly HVAC system repairs and unit replacements are. Center picture in the middle, those are air intakes built up of grease because it's actually sucking the grease through those air intakes, through the HVAC system, and then through the ductwork itself. So now you're not only have grease buildup through your exhaust hood kitchen system, but now you're getting grease buildup throughout your HVAC system, and it's pushing greasy, not pure air throughout the facility itself. And then when that happens, then it starts to affect the roof as well. And how does improper cleaning of the hood system damage my roof and HVAC system? So in simple terms is if the bottom level is not cleaned properly, and the ductwork isn't cleaned properly, what happens is you start getting a buildup in the ductwork in the center from in between the filters and then to the roof itself. In that, when it starts to heat up, then that grease starts to liquefy. And when it liquefies, the fan it does its job and it's trying to pull the air up and outside of the building, but it's pulling that liquid grease up. What happens is it hits the fan and the fan starts splattering it and flinging it all over your roof and sometimes to adjoining buildings. And you can see effects of that here. And I'll pause for a second. Does anyone have any questions so far?
Nick, I have a question. This is Alberta.
Yes, ma'am.
Have it ever been an instance where the grease on the roof and it's coming back and as hot as it get in Florida, start a fire with the sun being really, really hot?
So that it's happened, but it's not very often. What usually happens is the damage more happens is if you see the picture to the right where it's splattered against the wall, and
Yes.
it's this type of roof where it's a thick rubber style roof. If it's hot enough, that hot grease actually melts into the roof itself, and then what it does is causes roof leaks. So we've seen that often where prospects have been putting brand new roofs on because of roof damage and then not cleaning it properly, and then it starts pushing grease through the fans itself again, and then causing more damage and avoids their warranty on their roofs. But not necessarily of the grease being inflamed because of the heat, but the temperature of the grease actually ruining the roof itself.
Okay.
That's a
Thank
great
you.
question, though. Yes, ma'am. All right. And then another quick question. What happens? So inside the fan itself, most of them have belts like this. And it's a motor system. So then the fan blade turns and then it pulls the air or the grease and the ventilation through the roof. So what do you think happens and how does it affect your locations if a belt breaks? So when a belt breaks, you
Emily, do we have someone in the chat to give
Um,
an
we
answer?
we don't have an answer, but we do have a question. So
sure.
once we get the answer, or
Okay.
however you want to do it. Well, the question is there a place that indicates the last cleaning date? Do cleaners indicate this somewhere on the hood?
Yes. So per NFPA 90, that's a great question. Per NFPA 96, you should have a service sticker on the hood. That's required by whoever's doing the cleaning. You should also have a service report. Mostly, it's emailed, so it should go to the email of the person that's actually doing the scheduling, and then it's showing. So whenever if you once you get inspected by the health inspector, because the health inspector looks for that to make sure that service is done. Then also, if you get a fire inspection, they also ask for that as well. But that's a great question.
I think Helena answered your question. Emily, if you can read Helena's response to the fan belt breaking.
Yeah, she just said no ventilation if the belt breaks.
Absolutely. And on top of no ventilation, what happens is that you're required to shut the kitchen down because without proper ventilation, you're not supposed to be using any equipment that's underneath that hood. So not only it does it cause heat, and then also the smoke and all the grease starts pushing out. You're not supposed to use that equipment. So little things like proactive maintenance of for instance, the picture to the right with a little crack in the belt and repairing those belts can go a long way. And even to the left, I'll show a video as well. This has a two belt system, and in that, you can see how the belt is is kind of flexing on one side. That belt needs both of those belts need to be replaced because of that flex, because over time with a worn belt, and that's what happens when the belt's too old and it starts to wear down and starts to stretch. Then it's actually starting to damage the actual pulleys on the motor itself, and it might cause damage to the motor. And then those are very expensive repairs by just improper checking for the equipment and belts. Another question to ask your current provider: does your current provider have standards and training processes for all cleanings guided by NFPA Code 96? I'm proud to say Kitchen Guard does, and we have it with the Kitchen Guard Academy. Some of the equipment just to share on how we use and take care of these cleanings. To the bottom left is our pressure washer, which not only is pressure washing for the actual areas around, but sometimes we'll have like the dumpster area or the tracks in the front entrance way just from people walking. The second one in, that is a filter soak tank. So we would take those filters down and soak those in the tank and break down the grease and put those back up. In the center is our pressure washing unit. Attached to that pressure washing unit, there's a heating element, so it heats up the water actually in all the vans, and there's a water tank in there. So not only is it chemical, but it's also heat and pressure. Whereas some kind of low budget operators will just use the water off the side of your building, and it's not temperature driven. Just to the right of that is just a spray chemical bottle, which would be used on the roof and then also on the bottom level to spray the grease to treat it before pressure washing. The little almost looks like a metal flower second into the from the right. That is actually something where if you have a long run of ductwork from the roof down, can actually be sent down through the ductwork, and it spins with the pressure, so it cleans all the way through the ductwork itself. And one of the most important things to the right, and it's used with good old elbow grease, is a scraper. So the technician would go in and actually scrape that grease buildup throughout the ductwork itself. Normal services that are offered and should be offered. Kitchen Guard does offer the hood and exhaust cleaning, filter exchange programs, filter chemicals, repairs and maintenance, state-of-the-art equipment, and then the green steam service. Here's a couple other things as far as repairs and how your system's actually built up. So if it's not set up correctly, not only is it not compliant to NFPA Code 96, but it's not being able to service properly. So you can see some before and after pictures to the right where it was a fan that didn't have a hinge kit on, but you can see where there's access. And the picture in the middle is a proper hinge kit that's placed in that green little like elbow. To the right of that is a grease containment box. So if there's any overflow of the grease from the fan itself, it's contained in there. It doesn't go on your roof. But access panels, curved and flat, fan replacement, belt replacement. So there's a lot that goes into not just cleaning the hood and cleaning it properly, but also a service. So every provider should be able to add access panels, repair the fans replacement, belt replacement, curb extensions, hinge kits, roof repair from grease damage from prior services, and then custom work. And most importantly is if your provider is NFPA 96 compliant and they do everything properly each and every time, you'll be more fire safe. I appreciate each and every one of you, but now I would like to open up for questions.
Emily, I think I saw a question.
Yes, we did have one just come in. It says, so does all the grease or water come down through the hood? Seems like it would be messy.
That is a great question. And, it's one picture I didn't put on there, and I apologize for missing out. So our technicians leave, and it should be left. Your facility should be left cleaner than it was received. So how that happens is they use very thick plastic, and they tarp the hood itself, and it's actually funneled into trash cans or grease containers. So as it's sprayed, it's actually saving, and it's stopping the splatter, and it keeps it nice and clean. It also should, in any areas in the area around it, across from it, if there's any more equipment, a plastic should be covered in that area as well. So it would catch any of the over splatter or anything like that. So, but in theory, once you look at the hood and then you come in the next day, you should not know that someone was even there. But that's a great question.
Nic, I have a question. I think you may have covered it, but how often do you recommend that ALFs or adult family care home alike get their kitchen professionally inspected, like the hood and the exhaust? And is it yearly or What is it?
Well, so that's another amazing question, and thank you for asking that. So each and every time you get your service done, that's part there's it should be inspected from top to bottom. So within that NFPA 96 code, and once the sticker is there, it's certified that it's inspected from top to bottom. That being said, is there are some that fall through the crack. So it's very imperative to see when it was done last. It's always good if you haven't done it in a while, or if you don't know, is to reach out to someone, like Kitchen Guard, that can will offer a free inspection. And then what they'll do is also have pictures and videos to back that up. But it's very important to do that often and make sure that whoever's doing your hood system does that correctly, because not only is it would be non-compliant, and air quality affects air quality and fire safety, but also if it's not working properly, then you'll start seeing belts breaking, motors breaking, and usually what happens, it's usually on the worst possible times when equipment goes down. So you want that to happen. But the long answer to your question is it should be done each and every time that the hood system's cleaned.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
We just had another question come in. They asked, how much does it cost, or how much does a cleaning cost?
That's also a great question. So everything should be customized based on the equipment that you have. So within an initial inspection, a team would go in and they would take measurements, see how many fans and hoods that you have. Some locations have one hood. Some locations have 3, 4, 5 hoods. Not only that, on the roof, finding the ductwork, it's all customized based on the equipment that you have. But I will say that it should be very importantly drawn out, because there are some locations that say if you have a dishwasher with a hood that's far in the back area, that doesn't need to be done every 3 months. That should be done every year, so that can save you some money that way. But it's variable based on your setup.
And they followed up with, so with the free inspection, do you get a quote?
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. So not only with a free inspection, you would actually get videos and pictures of your actual system from top to bottom, any recommendations, or if there's anything that's NFPA 96 code non-compliant. And I will say, you'd be surprised, and this happens often, whereas we'll do a hood inspection and we'll go to the roof and there's no hinge kit, but it's been cleaned, air quotes, cleaned and certified for the last 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. But what we find is once we start digging into the system, that there's buildup and grease buildup because it just hasn't been done correctly. So that at that point, then a hinge kit needs to be put on before a proper cleaning is done. But yes, a full proposal would be available soon after. These great questions. Thank you. Anyone else have any questions?
Hey.
Not yet. Give it another minute if you want to.
Nick, I have another question for the ones on the line and for myself. Is Kitchen Guard all over the state of Florida, or is located centrally, or?
Yes, ma'am. So Kitchen Guard is national. We do have locations and service centers that are opening up throughout the country more. We do have a good national coverage at the moment. The really good thing about Kitchen Guard is that they're all franchise locations. Like Alex Moats and his team. Alex Moats is the owner. You get that local feel. And then if there's a national opportunity within larger groups, then that's when I come in with the national accounts as the national account executive with Eversmith Brands. We also have, on top of the Kitchen Guard, you can see the other brands that are under our umbrella as well. But we do have great coverage in the state of Florida.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
I don't think we have any more questions unless somebody wants to put a last minute one in there. Now. So,
If there are no more questions, again, I want to thank Nick for your time and to sharing this valuable information with our members. Because we think about caring for our resident, but part of keeping our exhaust and kitchen in order and fire protected and safe, that's taking care of our residents as well, and staff and everyone within that confines of that facility. Again, thank you, Nick. We appreciate you. And as time go on, we might have you back.
That sounds great. I really appreciate it. It was an honor to be here, and I wish you all the best, and everyone have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Before everyone chime off of the webinar, do anyone have any questions from myself or the staff? Okay. Tammy, I'll turn it over to you and Emily for the gift card and prize, whoever won it. Tammy and Emily.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us today, and thanks, Nick, for a great presentation. Today's door prize winner, which is a $100 Visa gift card, it's based on first to register and then who's in attendance. So the winner today is Beth Ann Walker at Titusville Towers. Beth Ann, I believe you are still on. I will be in touch with you by email a little bit later today to communicate getting that to you.
Congratulations, Beth Ann. Absolutely. And again, if you all have any questions, we have some upcoming speakers from the Agency for Healthcare Administration and from the Emergency Management, May and June, respectively, regarding hurricane preparedness and reporting in HFRS. So you want to stay tuned because those are going to be some very informative and needed discussions, so you'll know what is expected of you and expected that ACA want you to do in regard to reporting during the hurricane season or any open event in HFRS. Okay. If no more questions, Emily and Tammy, that is it for us. Okay. Again, Nick, very good. Thank you so very much.
thank you, Nick.
Very informative.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.
Everyone.
All right. And stay
Okay,
tuned
bye-bye.
for your survey to get your certificate once the call's over.
Okay,
People.
thanks, Emily. Okay, bye-bye,
you.
everybody.
All right, bye, everyone.
Bye.